and welcome to the first presidential debate of 2011, sponsored by the Commission of the Biological Welfare Organizations. I'm Alyssa from PMI 127, California, UC Davis. Today, we will be covering the important topic of the invader to our great country. We will cover the issue with the questions for the candidates about basic idea of our invader, Nocardia. This will include epidemiology, symptoms, and as well as how to diagnose the threat of this how to diagnose and treat this great threat. And lastly, we will discuss what is the likelihood of our continued survival in this phase of great threats. For those of you who are not aware of this great threat to our nations, Nocardia is the dangerous genus of actinomyces order. Nocardia normally can be found in soil, fresh water, or dust, and fecal material. But it can become the extremist invader when it infects immunocompromised member of our great nations. This occurs 500 to 1,000 people in our country every year, mostly in immunocompromised people and more in men than women. So Nocardia is not, however, a racial discriminator, which makes its only laudable feature. I will divide the next 20 minutes into 4-minute segments, and I will ask the questions in the beginning of each segment. Each candidate will then have 60 seconds to respond to questions. Let's welcome our best candidate of today's debate, President Obama, Calvin Coolidge, former President Bush. All right, we go with the first questions, okay? Candidates, in your opinions, what threats has Nocardia been presented to the citizen it has affected? President Obama, you may go first.
Let me be clear. Nocardia has a high threat level for the lungs. It is inhaled, just like I inhaled marijuana in college. Our immunocompromised citizens, those most sensitive and in need of our support, are the ones that are most in danger of the Nocardia threat. The attack results in chronic and acute chest pain, hemoptysis, fever, night sweats, and weight loss. The last, I am told by my wife, is actually a benefit.
Governor Dillon, you can respond.
You know, I'm not into the regular politics, and I consider myself a typical American. I can see Russia from my backyard, for heaven's sakes. But, you know, as a future president of this great nation, I would warn my fellow Americans to keep their children out of dirt, especially if they have cuts or the possibility of breathing in the small particles of soil. Nocardia has literally found its way into the soil of our great nation and the chance to infect our healthy kids. They cause lymphocutaneous infection, superficial cellulitis, or localized abscess, usually on the face for children or the lower extremities for adults. What they do to really ruffle our feathers is the fact that they are catalase positive, have cord factor, and produce superoxide demutinase, which stops suicide in Nocardians, and that's just not good.
Mr. Bush, you may respond.
Now listen up, Americans. It is a proven fact that you need your brain, your mind, and your head in order to function. If you are missing one of these 3 components, you just can't live life like that. It is known that disseminated Nocardia can infect your central nervous system. They call this the CSN. It can lead to abscess, brain abscess, intracranial pressure. Now, I know what y'all thinking. Y'all thinking that Nocardians affect the weak. It's not gonna hurt me. But let me tell you one thing. There have been cases where it has affected strong, healthy individuals. They have also been victimized. Now, I know. For you to imagine the consequences of the attack are unimaginable. It consists of headache, fever, lethargy. I mean, people don't know what they're doing half the time. It can also leave you confused and, hold on, give me a second. You just can't function.
Nocardia that is responsible for the devastating attack against our citizens. Governor Pillen, you may go first.
You know, Nocardians claim to be gram-positive rots under a microscope. They can be isolated from others of their kind by being cultured from a tissue or fluid sample onto blood agar or Lowenstein-Jensen agar. These aerobic outsiders are beaded, branched, and filamentous on this media. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Mr. Bush, this is your time to respond.
Now let me say something here. Now these Nocardians, these evildoers, they can affect the mind, the brain, and skin, as my friends here, Tiger Woods and Milk, just mentioned. Now, we can diagnose these terrorists. We can diagnose them by taking just a fine aspiration biopsy and smearing that, taking a gram stain and an acid-fast stain. Now y'all know that Nocardia is partially acid-fast. That's how we can identify them. Now for y'all who don't know,
Wait a minute, I'd just like to interject
I'm
here.
not done. I'm not done.
I could.
Right. President Obama, you can interject.
As my fellow candidates have stated, there are numerous ways to identify this terrorist, but they were not completely accurate. Nocardians are partially acid-fast. Now, this doesn't mean that they quickly metabolize acid like Bush here mentioned. Instead, their macrolic acid wax layer will retain the dye that we use to target our enemies instead of washing out like it will for non-combatants. These Nocardians are also very capable of metabolizing our valuable resources, such as capsaicin, tyrosine, xanthine, and hypoxanthine.
Mr. Bush, you can continue, but you only have 30 seconds.
Now before I was rudely interjected. There was another way to diagnose these terrorists. To take a tracheal wash and some sputum, and that's a spit. You have them spit, and you can just smear that on some nice Lowenstein-Jensen agar media, have it grow for 1 week, and that sucker will go faster than it takes Lindsay Lohan to get back into rehab.
Alright. Candidates, how would you combat this threat, and what is the timeline for the victory? And Mr. Bush, you may go first.
Let it be known to the American people that before any treatment was known, the mortality rate for the Nocardians was 100%. 100%. These Nocardians left no child behind. However, since 1940, NASA has developed a drug. These drugs have effectively treated the majority of the cases. These drugs is named sulfonamides. Now, sulfonamides are antimicrobials that can stop the infection from reaching your skin, your lungs, and most importantly, your bodies. 3 words can sum up the action of these drugs. Mission accomplished. Not only that, but sulfonamides together with trimethoprim can do a heck of a job. Hold on, Steven. A heck of a job. The mountains are loud with the sound of music.
Right, President Obama, you may respond.
Let me be clear. Yes, we can defeat this. Sulfonamides are the optimal response to the Nocardian threat. However, I believe a bipartisan combined therapy approach is needed that can better address the terrorist threat than just sulfonamides alone. Other antimicrobials, such as cephalosporins and amikacin, should be included to broaden the arsenal we can bring to bear.
Governor Pillen, now it's your turn.
You know, antibiotics in correct wound care can be mavericks against Nocardia. However, to be mavericky, we as great Americans that have encountered a Nocardian must continue using these antibiotics for 6 months to a year. And, you know, sometimes wounds must be drained and cleaned, and different combinations of antibiotics must be used to be extra mavericky.
Right. Thank you for your participating in this debate covering the terrorist threat of the Nocardia. Any last comment for the audience, starting from Dr. Pill?
Like I said, I'm not really into politics. I'm used to governing small communities. But to beat Nocardia, you know, we as Americans of this great nation need to keep healthy and keep clean, and we can stay strong.
I have already funded a budget item of $10 billion for this research into a vaccine against Nocardia. This will be funded by a tax raise on the richest citizens in our country who already receive so many benefits.
Mr. Bush, any comment?
I'll promise you one thing, Americans. I will mandate our military to search for these Nocardians in our great land and wipe them out. I will then go to other hostile nations and wipe them out. I'll go to other countries beyond that and wipe them out. If I will establish a free and stable America, God bless America, and nowhere else.
All right, let's have another round of applause. All right, marker, is this the best cameo? Or do we have the best actress represented here? So mark your notes. We're going to go down, say your name, first name loudly so they can hear you.
Thunder Soul.
Did you get that? You all have the names on you have the names at on the website. Go ahead.
Thunder Soul.
Nicole. Alyssa. Farah.
Okay, so I mean, MILF. Oh my God. I'm not supposed to know what that means, but and neither are you. All right, and so were those fact or were those factoids?
They're both, sir.
You look like Palin. And that's the other thing, you guys, you really have the affectations of Obama. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm glad I'm not voting, but that was well done. Round of applause, you guys. Very nice. Okay, now we're ready.